Hey friends, it's David Landjuli and Margaret Katz Can with another episode of the Leadership Deep Dive, where we're going to inquire with each other and hopefully with you, is your life messy enough?
Which is a funny question because I think probably 90+% of the people are like, my life is like more messy than I want it to be, right?
Yeah,
What do
but if
we
your
what do we
life,
mean by messy though?
right, what do we mean by messy? That's a great question.
Because I mean, if we're
Um,
talking about my house, like, yeah, there's more dog hair on the floor than I wish there was, but that's not what we're talking about.
that's not what we're talking about. We're
Yeah.
talking more about um, intercepting sort of the want to look good, avoid looking bad, saboteur. Uh, we're talking about interrupting the hyperachiever type of saboteur, where everything has to be about looking good and winning all the awards and getting all the recognition. We're talking about interrupting the perfectionist or stickler in us. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about some stage powers like creativity, which is messy.
Right.
Like,
No, it's not a
I mean,
straight line.
it's not a straight line. Like Margaret and I, one of our creative outlets is writing, and I can share with you that I'm not a writer, but I'm doing some writing. Margaret's more of the writer, and she could speak to her own process and how it works. But writing for me has been pretty messy over the past 10 years. But if I never got started in it because I was afraid of putting something messy out into the world, I never would have, published going on 8 books now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say for me with writing, and I didn't do a ton of writing because I think I had very high standards, and I would, write something and be like, "This is crap," right? Like So then one of the things that was most helpful is that I stumbled. I had no idea that this was going to be helpful, and apparently it's controversial, like many things are, but it was not controversial for me, which is that I signed up for a writing retreat. Come to find out that they do flow writing.
Right.
So you start each session with a little meditation to kind of quiet your analytical mind and just feel receptive and be open to like what story wants to come through me. And then you just dump it out on the page knowing
Yep.
that you're going to spend time later. You're going to spend time later cleaning it up.
Cleaning it up.
But it
Yeah.
it just the permission to create was enormous for me. It was so important.
Permission to
Yeah.
create. Absolutely, I love that, Margaret. Permission, giving ourselves permission to create our teams. Actually, right now, Margaret and I are giving each other permission to create these LinkedIn live streams. Now, if you've been watching a few of these, you may have noticed that we are completely unscripted. We come on with a topic like, we have no idea what we're going to say, and the video filters on this streaming technology is not very kind to each of us.
Times than Zoom for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get the picture perfect, even if it is that on Zoom, but it's certainly a nicer. I have a nicer glow to my face on Zoom, and so do you, Margaret. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So no, we're not talking about like intentionally screwing up your life, but this is more in the realm of giving yourself some grace to get messy, get creative, try some things, and
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable. I want to go in a little bit of a tangent. I know, shocking,
Mhm.
messy, right? One
Yeah.
of the places that I have been really tuned into recently, just in the past few weeks, is when space feels messy, when it feels uncomfortable, when something happens that's uncomfortable, maybe somebody says something, or like a bad thing happens, somebody cuts themselves, like whatever it is, and somebody who's really, really uncomfortable with a mess has this capacity to swoop in and make it so that you can't react. You can't actually have a natural, messy reaction for a minute. Like they
Right.
try to pre-clean the space so that there isn't space. And
Right.
if we allow ourselves sometimes just to have a reaction, it's like watching if a kid falls down,
Right.
and if the parents sometimes, like, oh my God, are you okay? Like that creates more mess, and they will, what? I'm not okay, I'm crying. But
Right.
conversely, if we swoop in and we're like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, then we don't allow the child to have a reaction. And as you know, like kids fall down, they skin their knees, they cry for a minute, and then it's finished. It's the same with all of us, right? Like if we are allowed to have a reaction, then the space cleans itself. But when
Yeah.
people try to come in and pre-clean, do you know what I'm
Right.
talking about?
I do. It's the
Yeah.
pleaser saboteur. I would say a lot of pleasers will want to come in and make. And if you're
I
an
think
S on
avoider.
the
I think avoider as well.
avoider, yes, yes,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
avoider also. But that would be like avoid is just avoid, but that would be sort of like a positive action that an avoider might take. I kind of like. I've never thought about the avoider that way. I love that, Margaret.
Right. Well, like you
But
put in
it's
relentless cheer to avoid feeling something that's
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah. That's good. That's
Right.
good. Also, the S, and for those of you out in the audience who have done your disc profile, S's will try to, create, not allow the mess to get messy.
Yeah.
uh, good for the sake of relationship.
Yeah.
Typically,
Like
they don't
here's
want
an
any.
example. Have you ever like been with somebody and they blew it, right? Like they made a mistake and you're having a reaction like you love them, you're going to forgive them. That's not even in question. But in that moment, like you just need a minute to let yourself feel disappointed, right? Or to soak up, like, okay, I feel some letdown, I feel some disappointment. But the person like swoops in aggressively with an apology.
Right.
And then once they've apologized, like, okay, who's the asshole now if you're still,
Yeah.
expressing like why you're upset?
Right.
So that would be an example of cleaning up a space mess before the arc of it is finished.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. And now, whoop, you can no longer be disappointed because, well, they've said they're sorry. That's an example.
Yeah. Another example, I'm listening to a series of dialogues. I I do recommend it's a bit heady stuff. So it's a series of dialogues between J. Krishnamurti, who was a spiritual teacher,
Okay.
and David Bohm, who was a world class physicist.
All right, I'm not even going
And
to tell you what I'm reading right now because I'm going to sound way less smart if I tell you.
oh, there's the lesson. But we'll get to that in a moment. So anyway, this was a series of dialogues that they had in Ojai, California in 1980.
Okay.
And so the physicist with the spiritual teacher, right? So if you know me in the audience, I'm kind of interested in this. And this is really about the title of these talks was The Ending of Time, which is provocative. And this is all about ontology or being, or if you're a leader in the being of a leader, as opposed to what you do in the world, who you be. And we talk about this a lot, Margaret. But boy, those dialogues are so messy. It's because they're grappling with very difficult concepts or ideas that go back for millennia, and people have said a lot of things about them. So it's just those, but what that I find is so rich is that those dialogues are very, and there's people in the audience and they're like, oh, you can't, and they're chiming in and that's not right. And, and it's really messy actually, but quite entertaining for that reason.
Yeah. Like reality TV. It was the precursor of reality TV.
a little bit more erudite, but but actually on the same topic, it's so interesting that we're talking about this. So over the weekend, my wife and I we were surfing around to pick up some kind of a series to pick up on, and it turns out that the Monty Python Flying Circus is available on Amazon Prime, and I was like, I never really watched a lot of that growing up in the '70s, and I, it is wildly messy, like super eccentric messy. And we only watched 2 episodes, and you can see, like, I so get the leadership training that you and I went through in improv, Margaret.
Yeah.
Like they were improving so much.
Yeah.
And improv is really messy, but very funny.
It can be. Well, it's also like, when you finish a movie and they show you the bloopers,
right?
Like those are always hilarious, right? It's always
they
a little
are.
odd that they edit them out of the movie, but yeah. We should circle back. So, is your life messy enough?
Is it messy enough, or are you always the person with the manicured haircut, with the no hairs coming on the back of your neck, or
you know the answer to that? Yeah.
as you look at my beard today, or the hair back in the bun so tight that your face looks like this. No mess. And why would why
well,
would
I mean, I think
this?
that like that perfectionist streak is it's really not a friend to people, right? That energy of judging yourself and judging your product and having a standard that makes you crazy, that something has to be so good or so clean or so and it's crippling, I think, for people. It's really, it's a big burden to feel like messes aren't allowed.
It reminds me of, there is a art form in Zen, Japanese Zen, where if you drop a cup or a china, a plate of fine china, and it cracks into, breaks into many pieces, they will actually put it back together very, very carefully with like a gold glue / paint. And these typically with teacups, especially, you drop the teacup, it shatters, and you put it back together, and now you have all the imperfections in the teacup, which people value as very beautiful because of beautiful. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And plus, it's very creative.
Go ahead.
It's very creative. You've taken something that was a mess and turned it into something beautiful.
Yeah. Do they leave a little piece out sometimes?
No, not that I'm aware of, because that would not for the teacup. But that's an interesting idea. I like that. Like,
you can see the light through it.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a metaphor of, I learn the most and grow the most from my messes, from the messes that I make.
Right.
Like that's when I do something perfectly, it feels good, but I don't grow much.
Yeah, I like that, Margaret. I don't think there's any growth in perfection. Or I also think that part of the reason why there's very little growth, if there's no mess, is that if you're afraid of making the mess, or you don't like having to clean it up, then you'll refrain from making messes, and so therefore no growth.
Right. And you make your life then smaller, and you take fewer risks. You set goals for yourself that you can achieve, right? There are no stretch goals if you're afraid of a mess.
Yeah. Surprisingly, and we've talked about this before, hyperachievers will not go after stuff if they think there's going to be failure or a mess, because then
they're terrified of not achieving.
Exactly. As opposed to it being a learning opportunity, right?
Yeah.
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 I'm fond of saying, you know this, Margaret, and some folks may know that I train in the martial art of jiu-jitsu, and I want to talk about something messy. You really don't learn anything unless you make lots of mistakes. But in competition, I chose to compete for, let's say, about seven years, and I think I've lost more fights in competition than I won, and I won a couple of championships. But I all those, and boy, does that bruise your ego. I can speak for myself.
Yeah.
That was painful, but I think I had to go through um, that mess of
Hmm.
losing on the world stage in front of your family and friends
Yeah.
to really extinguish. I don't know that I've completely extinguished my ego in jujitsu, but I can tell you that it's much diminished.
Many sizes smaller.
It's my mini me ego. Yeah. So what else, Margaret? Do you have any other wisdom
Yeah.
around making, like, intentionally making some messes in our lives?
I don't know. I think permission is different from intention.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know, like I don't know that we need to go looking for messes, although
Mm,
sometimes, we can do some metaphoric if it feels good to squelch your toes in mud or whatever. Yeah, but
yeah.
I think just giving permission to ourselves and trusting ourselves to be able to clean things up and to repair. And
Yes, I love that.
that makes us brave enough to make messes.
Yeah, to permit messes to happen. I like the way
Yeah.
you said that. Um, and um, if as a leader you're allowing, I don't know the word, messes to happen, especially in the creative realm of innovation. By the way, that's another sage superpower that you embrace, but can be messy.
Yeah.
Um, then you clean up the messes if that's in terms of, you know, uh, relationship. Usually it's in the realm of relationship that the mess needs to be cleaned up,
I think that's
right?
true. But, we were talking about writing or creative pursuits earlier,
Yeah.
right? Give
Yeah.
yourself permission to get it out and then,
Yeah.
edit later.
The other saboteur, it just came to me, that gets in the way of, I believe, gets in the way of allowing messes to happen or permitting them to happen, is the controller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The controller hates messes.
Yeah.
Right? Because,
Especially other people's messes. Mhm.
yeah, because it in almost always implies that things are out of control,
Yeah.
the mess, right?
Mhm.
So if everything's tight and neat and orderly and under control,
Yeah.
you're not going to go very far. That's, I guess, what we're saying.
Right. Do you remember, David? I know you're of the age where you would remember this, but the Reese's peanut butter cup ads where like the guy
Oh,
was walking
yeah,
along with his chocolate bar and he runs
yeah.
into the person with the peanut butter. And as a lover of Reese's peanut butter cups and the combo of chocolate and peanut butter, that was a
Yeah.
great that was a great example.
A great
Sometimes messes
example.
are brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, invite you to put your comments down below. We'll respond to them. Let's have a little conversation about this idea of allowing your life to be a bit more messy.
Right.
And
And
we'd like to hear from you, like, some examples when you actually let that happen, and it turned out to be a gift or an opportunity. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Any, anything else?
Yeah, just what if you're learning anything about your capacity to clean up a mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there's more to come on that. I think that is by the way, cleaning up the mess is messy,
Can often be very
can
messy.
be messy, but
Yeah.
apologies at the right time, as Margaret, um,
Sincere
sincere,
eye contact
um,
and patient.
I, being patient, sincerity, patience, and also being open hearted.
Yeah.
Um, being open hearted. And the thing that I struggle with in um, apologizing and cleaning up messes is I'm pretty hard on myself, even after the fact, even after I've made an sincere, authentic, open hearted apology, which has been received and accepted. I'm still struggling with my inner critic who is criticizing me for making the mess.
Yeah.
So that's room for me to grow. And maybe some of you in the audience also, there may be room for you to grow there. Um, I still struggle with that. And part of cleaning up the mess is cleaning up your internal mess too and dealing with your inner critic. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right. Anything
more to,
else?
no, I
More to
think
come.
we can keep talking about this topic next
Yeah.
or next podcast. Yeah.
All right. All right. Go, let me just invite you to the invitation here is to go and maybe start small and just permit a little mess to happen and see what happens, clean it up, see what creativity comes out of it. So if you're willing to give it a try, go put it into practice. All right.